What's up, YouTube? This is your girl Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen. To all of my returning subscribers, and if this is your first time joining me on today, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. Also, be sure to click that notification bell. That way you'll be alerted whenever I make a new post. So today I wanted to talk about Mr. Jussie Smollett. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you may know, he is an actor, a famous actor at that. And he actually has a sister who is very prominent within the acting industry or Hollywood as well. Her name is Jussie Smollett. And yeah, so basically he's on Empire. He plays some character. Yeah, I stopped watching after the second season, so I forgot. His name escapes me on the show right now. But he works very closely with Taraji P. Henson, Lee Daniels, all of those big names in Hollywood. And basically, recently he came out and told everyone that he was attacked. And he was attacked by white men wearing MAGA hats. And that, I mean, basically he painted this picture that he was pretty much a victim of a racial slash homophobic attack because he is a gay male. So the world kind of went up in arms just because we live in the type of political climate that we do, right? Where, you know, race and fighting for human rights, it's a very dicey subject. So a lot of people were outraged at the idea of a hate crime like this taking place in 2019. So long story short, as more facts came about from the Chicago Police Department, we come to discover that there were two Nigerian men, ironically enough, that have been linked to the crime. And once they were taken into custody and questioned by authorities, they pretty much came out and was like, yeah, this situation was staged. We knew Jussie. A lot of people saw that Jussie was following these two Nigerian men online. And yeah, they pretty much spilled the beans. It was like, look, we know him. He paid us some money, you know, to come and shake him up a little bit. And I mean, look, that's just what it is. And in addition to that, a lot of people had just kind of been observing and noticing a lot of inconsistencies within his story. And it was very much a split kind of reaction because you had some people who were cussing everybody else out who was asking questions and felt like we just need to rally around him and clamor around him and support him no matter what. And then you had other people who were like, something's not adding up. We want more details. So now that the series of events have unfolded the way that they have, a lot of people actually do feel vindicated. But unfortunately for Mr. Jussie, he is now facing conviction, like, you know, being prosecuted for basically wasting everybody's time and resources and making false allegations. And he could actually receive anywhere from 1 to 3 years in jail if convicted. And in addition to that, he's being literally erased from Empire as we know it because word on the street is a lot of the writers are literally redoing the scripts and cutting him out of scenes. So, I mean, there goes his job security. He's facing all of these legal issues. So, I mean, yeah, and not to mention his reputation is just literally tanking because everybody's looking at him like, really, nigga? Really? So I thought it would be a pretty good idea to take a look at his chart and point out some what I would like to call astrological indicators that can kind of give us a little bit more insight into the psyche and personality that we know to be Jussie Smollett. Okay, so let's get started. So Jussie was born on June 21st, 1982 in Santa Rosa, California. Now, him being born on the 21st can actually be telling in the sense that 21 breaks down to the number 22, and 22 deals with situations where a person must proceed something with caution, or a situation to where somebody is literally being controlled, or they're the ones doing the controlling. All right, I call this the control or be controlled degree. So interesting. And your sun is your identity, your ego. And a lot of times in a person's chart, wherever your sun is placed can be a pretty good indicator of your career. It can symbolize your profession. So, there's that. Now, he has his sun conjoined to his moon as well as his north node in the sign of Cancer. Now, his sun is opposing his Neptune in Sagittarius, and this could deal with somebody who has a very fragile ego, somebody who is highly insecure, and as a result, they can resort to a lot of power plays, trickery, deceit, fraud, even in order to kind of help them keep an upper hand in certain situations, so that they can kind of avoid losing face, losing ego, or any type of further damage to their egos. And these people can also come off as very disingenuous. They have a tendency to be perceived by other people as being very suspicious. So there are a lot of secrets and illusions and kind of things that are connected to a person with this aspect, to where, even if they are lying about something, they'll, especially depending on what transits, are taking place with their sun, they could absolutely get exposed. It's like the perfect climate for a nigga to just get aired out. Now, this aspect can also point towards his acting career because Neptune is so artistically inclined. However, specifically the harsher aspects between Sun and Neptune can produce somebody who has issues with substance abuse, somebody who is even plagued with mental issues. Now, of course, I'm not saying everything does not mean that somebody has a mental illness. So I'm not saying that this is or isn't the case with Jussie in particular, but I wouldn't be surprised, especially given this aspect in this chart. And actually, especially the drug part. It's Hollywood. It's just kind of what people do. It's not uncommon, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. And especially with his moon being conjoined to his sun, this just really reinforces his susceptibility to those scandals and things that he maybe participated in behind the scenes coming to light at very inopportune and inconvenient times. Him facing lots of controversy and backlash, because your moon also deals with your public perception. It can deal with your career as well. So, and interestingly enough, his Mercury is in the 8th degree of Gemini. Mercury Gemini people, on one hand, can be very intelligent, have very high intellectual capabilities, but on another hand, these people are highly prone to, and it depends on what planets are aspecting the Mercury, but these people can also be very manipulative. These people can be liars, like pathological liars, but the best liars you've ever seen, because they're so intelligent and they're so detail oriented, and they tend to be very good with words. So these people can be actually scary good liars, very convincing liars, and just prone to all kinds of trickery and deceit. And in his case, Jussie's Mercury is forming a trine to his Mars, his Pluto, and his Saturn. So all three of the big malefics, right, in astrology. And they're all in the sign of Libra, which, it could produce a couple things. So this could deal with him actually being prosecuted legally as a result of these lies. Somebody who faces lots of public being judged by the public, or even going to court, because Libra deals with the justice system. But then also somebody who, as I said before, they are tapped into that lower nature of that Gemini energy. And I would also even argue that this could even be correlated with him telling lies in order to somehow benefit his acting career, because Libra could represent, the element of the arts, so to speak. But of course it backfired. And I actually heard that, of course there are 1,000 stories circulating, but that's one of the stories that I heard, that he initially concocted this plan to have himself kind of get jumped by these two quote unquote MAGA supporters in order to keep him from being written out of Empire. Which, I mean, if that is the case and that's why he came up with this idea in the first place, it makes no sense, because now now that people have looked into this further and it's blown up in your face, you're getting written out of the cast anyway. So, but whatever. And his sun is forming a trine to his Pluto, which could deal with somebody who is very protective about their reputation, about their identity, somebody who is super secretive. His Mercury is opposing his Uranus also, which could actually deal with somebody who, it reinforces that theme of mental illness, especially with that Gemini element present. And then you add Uranus, which is very sudden bursts of energy and is very sporadic. So this could be somebody who's prone to drastic mood swings, disillusionment, people who can literally act on impulse without thinking, people who, like I said, aren't wrapped too tight sometimes. And then also it could produce an environment for a person to be very deceitful, for somebody to be very intelligent, but also very deceitful or deceiving, so to speak. And that's just something that I kind of see reoccurring throughout his chart. He's not dumb. And I also find it interesting that his Libra Mars is aspecting both of his, the two of your most personal planets in your chart, which are your sun and your moon. But then also that his Mars is in the 9th degree of Libra. And that number 9 deals with arrogance. It can deal with somebody who is mentally unstable. It can deal with somebody who is even a narcissist. So that's something to think about. And then finally, I took a look at his transit, and Mars is actually opposing his Jupiter and his Sun, his Jupiter and his Pluto, which could deal with him going through a situation to where he feels overconfident about something. So him feeling he kind of overly relying on his wits and overly relying on his luck or his ability to pull shit off or conceal things and it backfiring. That's kind of what this aspect produces, especially with his Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio, because Scorpio is the natural ruler of the 8th house, and it deals with just lots of secrets, things underground, things that should kind of be, hush hush, so to speak. And it could deal with affluence, a lot of power. Wherever you see a lot of Scorpio energy, you can also point towards people who are in higher positions of power, right? So yeah, I thought that was also very interesting. Very, very interesting. So yeah, man, based off of his chart, he has all of the telltale signs of a narcissist, and even somebody who is very intelligent, but also equally as, devious, maybe is the word I'm looking for. So, hey, and y'all love accusing me of giving my opinions and trying to make the reading about my opinions. This is just, I'm just calling it like I see it. It's just what it is, sweetie. So, with that being said, this concludes my little brief spot check of Mr. Jussie Smollett's natal chart. Y'all be sure to hit me up in the comment section. Feel free to, show some love, share your thoughts, suggestions. I'm open to just about everything except for the bullshit. Those of y'all who love me and know me know what I mean. And as always, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.